So much to get into with that. But they were resilient, weren't they?
한 골, 한 개의 어시스트 그리고 자책골로 환호와 탄식을 동시에 불러일으켰던 손흥민. 그리고 너무나도 치열했던 오늘 경기 외신들은 어떻게 반응했을지 알아봅니다. 먼저 BBC MOTD에서 오늘 경기를 어떻게 분석했는지 살펴볼까요?
So much to get into with that. But they were resilient, weren't they? We'll come on to the decision right at the end there. But they didn't roll over today.
No, I think the one thing that Ange Postecoglou has set into this team is a belief and a style of play, since his arrival. And he is intent on continually playing the same way. The whole topic was going to be around whether he was going to do it at the Etihad with the state of the squad. But what a brilliant game of football, number one. I think Tottenham completely rode their luck, definitely in the first half. But the bravery on the ball and the individual performances from players like Lo Celso, I think they thoroughly deserved their point at the end.
And that's the point, isn't it? Not once in this game did they change Tottenham how they were going to play.
No, I mean, we thought they'd have to, really, at some point. But Ange Postecoglou is so intent on stretching the pitch, playing out from the back. You see how brave that Tottenham were, Manchester City, with that three at the back, pushing one of their midfielders centrally. And Spurs said, we don't mind, we're going to take the ball. Udogie stepping into a midfield position, Spurs trying to play out from the back. And this time it doesn't work. Manchester City should actually score, but it doesn't put Spurs off. It doesn't stop them trying to achieve what they're doing. They've got both fullbacks in the middle on this time. It gives Manchester City something to think about again. Phil Foden's ending up really deep. Yes, Manchester City may have won the ball back on that occasion, but wonderful play from Spurs. And the reason you do it is to get into these positions. And they did it brilliantly. They didn't quite get the end product here. Hill not quite finding the pass, but ended up with 3 or 4v2 in those positions. And not only brave in taking the ball, but brave in starting positions as well. Just off the shoulder of Roger, able to affect the defensive structure, but then being able to break into these positions so quickly. Wonderful pass from Son again. Not a bad ball, but if Hill could have maybe been a different player, they're up against Kyle Walker, maybe on a different day, they'd have got a goal. But then in the second half, you wondered who'd blink first. It was actually Manchester City. They took that player out of the central position, moved him defensively, and that gave Spurs more opportunities through the middle. Doesn't work on this occasion, Jermaine, but they were wonderful in their bravery today.
Yeah, and I think it's, what came first, really. Did City decide to kind of go forward at the back for security, or did moves like this, Spurs putting forward front, just force them into making these decisions? Usually Diaz would be flying into that midfield, but little movements from Son like this, and the ability from Porro and Emerson Royale to get themselves out of a tight spot were, the makings in the second half of Spurs trying to, all of a sudden working things out away from home. I think that he just gives the team a freedom to make mistakes as well. This is them out of possession here, so bravery with the ball, but bravery without the ball as well. Pressing City high up the pitch to win the ball high up the pitch, and they get the rewards for it. You don't see that happening to City a lot. But I think, the structure and the way that they do it allowed them to win the ball. This is the mistakes element. Look, trying to nutmeg people, especially at the Etihad, at that, in that part of the pitch, I don't think he's ever going to be happy with personally. But what I liked about it was the response. There was not an element of, we've made a mistake, let's climb up and now start going long. It was, we stick to the plan. This is how we play. The positions of Richarlison and Brennan Johnson just here at the top of the pitch are really isolate Akanji. He probably wants to go in there on Heung-min Son, but because of their position, gives Son the space. And I thought Brennan Johnson really came into the game in the second half. This is perfect wide play. One given a great delivery, and the other attacking, that far post. And I just thought, as a whole, given what's happened in the last couple of weeks, Wolves, Villa, massive result, but a well-deserved point.
Do you like the instructions of don't think, just play?
한편 풋볼런던과 스카이스포츠 역시 손흥민을 극찬했는데요. 풋볼런던 골드 기자의 평가는 다음과 같습니다. 그는 맨시티 원정에서 골을 넣었고 쿨루셉의 패스를 그의 진행 방향으로 향하도록 가져갔고 에데르송을 상대로 골을 집어넣었습니다. 전반전에 토트넘의 공격이 더 전진할 수 있도록 멋진 패스를 자주 성공시켰고 시티의 전반전 프리킥이 그의 허벅지에서 굴절되어 자살골이 된 것은 불행했죠. 후반전에는 로셀소가 골을 어시스트했습니다. 9점을 줬어야 했는데 자살골로 8점을 부여합니다. 스카이스포츠에서는 메뉴 출신 로이킨의 손흥민 극찬이 눈에 띄었는데요. 살펴보시죠.
Son live, his movement is absolutely fantastic. His work rate, if he doesn't get it the first time, he comes back round. I thought he was a great outlet for Spurs. Not that he was always getting it, sorry.
I think he sets the standards for Spurs.
Oh, without a doubt. I think he's a great example for any player who plays up front, that movement. And again, he wasn't great at getting great balls, but he kept making the runs, leaving the run there for the goal, just distracting people, and leaves up a bit of space for his teammate.